Okay, Teedra's on the line now. I think we're all connected here. Teedra?
Hello.
Hello, Teedra. How are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm sorry about the the messed up mobile stuff.
No, that's okay. Well, that's just one of those things. Not to worry at all. You're here now, and that's all that's important. So that's wonderful. And I'm just gonna, because I'd actually shut down all the bits that I had ready to talk to you about. So I'm just gonna open those back up again. And okay, are you okay if I start asking a few questions then?
Of course.
Wonderful. Okay. So you were born in New Orleans and inspired by your mother, who was gospel singer Shirley Moses. And so you probably had some great childhood musical memories. And I wondered if you'd like to share some of those with us.
My mother was a gospel singer, and what I remember the most is being little, very, very little, because my mother lost her voice before I got too old.
Right.
But she would be singing in church, and my older sister and I just always recall the reaction of the people and how her voice moved people's spirit. And she never was, I know you see a lot of the people in gospel churches and they act out, they sing and they act out, like God is coming down to save people right at that moment. They act out a lot. My mother never acted out. She was very sincere when she sang. And when she was done with the song, she always just went and sat down. She never dragged the song out like people did in gospel music. But people were so affected by her. People would cry and, people would, call out to God. And that's the thing I remember the most, is just watching the reaction of people to her voice and the soul in her voice.
How lovely. Oh, that sounds absolutely great. And as you were growing up then, who were your inspirations musically? Who were the people who sort of inspired you into music, groups and bands and artists and that kind of thing?
There's a lot of people. Of course, Prince is like my all-time favorite artist. I think that he is just a genius. Yeah. And he's the person that definitely made me want to make music and make music at a level that people could appreciate, as from an art standpoint, from a just a feel good standpoint, from I think he does it well in every genre except for hip hop. He's no good at hip hop. But I love Anita Baker coming up. I love Mary J. Blige. By the time I became of age to start choosing my own music, I learned of Prince from my older cousin. I learned of Anita Baker from my mom, but Mary J. Blige was one that I was able to find on my own, and I always loved how raw she was. I didn't feel like I could sing like Whitney Houston, and I didn't think I was as perfect as Whitney Houston. But when Mary came out, she made us feel like she represented us, and I really loved her, and always loved Sade. She's definitely someone that I really still to this day look at how she keeps her sound intact. And everything is so distinctively hers. If you want what Sade gives you, you can't go anywhere else to get it. You have to go to Sade. So those are probably some of the most influential people, in for me growing up. Tina Marie, Angela Winbush, these very powerful singers,
Yeah, wow. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm getting a very good feeling of the kind of people that inspired you. That's fantastic. Wonderful. So moving to California, I mean, that must have had an influence on your sort of musical input and also in your musical life. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that?
California is what made me the artist I am, actually. New Orleans gave me soul, and New Orleans gave me personality and gave me a base of, the woman I would become. But California made me an artist because I met other really creative people. Some of my friends that I just started with in high school, my best friend's a designer and stylist. My children's father was a very well-known underground hip-hop artist in California. Another best friend of mine is a stylist and designer. I was around very creative people that we didn't initially choose each other because we were creative. We didn't even know we were creative. We just kind of, the synergy came about. So definitely my experiences, becoming a wardrobe stylist before I became a songwriter and singer, traveling around with my children's father when he was, working with different artists and everything. I learned that I wanted to become an artist in California. And California is a great place for it because it's liberal, it's open, and it's a trend-setting city. So Los Angeles, definitely, I can attribute Los Angeles, California to me becoming the artist that I am.
So you worked with Will Smith and R. Kelly as a wardrobe stylist. What did that entail? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we worked with quite a few people. My best friend, Andra McKenzie, who's a wardrobe stylist and a designer, I started off with her early on, and it was a great experience just seeing how things operate behind the scenes of an artist and how many people it takes to make an artist's vision come together. Working with someone like R. Kelly was amazing because his vision was very, very clear. And sometimes it can be obnoxious and seem impossible, but his expectations were that you make it happen. I remember once that he asked for a 15 foot, I think it was 15 foot, is a mink coat that trailed behind him for 15 feet, and we had to make that happen. And he just had clear vision, like his vision was clear, and sometimes it was absurd, but it was his vision, and you had to make it happen. And I'm a very meek and humble person. Sometimes, I can be very boisterous, but people that I deal with that don't know me very well, I have to work with. I don't let them see the side of me that gets irate and passionate. I try to hold that back because people don't understand it. And he just was the kind of person that he was never mean, but he let you see his passion and how serious he was. And I respect that so much about him. He's a great visionary that I don't think gets the respect for his vision, even though his vision may seem very immature to some people. He really thinks it all out. He thinks it all out, and down to what he did with the in the closet stuff. He has vision, and he was definitely an artist that I worked with as a wardrobe stylist that inspired me to understand what my vision is and do whatever it takes to get it done the right way. Wow. Don't let people deter you from the vision that you have and the way you want the vision to, eventually come to fruition.
That's very meaningful, yeah, and both very, very, shall I say, snappy dressers, Will Smith and R. Kelly as well. So that must have been quite a task, I would imagine. But wow, there we go. And your bio says that you actually broke your leg on a video set, and that was what prompted you to make your own career out of music. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I had been doing wardrobe styling with Nanja for years, and I took a break, and then I came back to it because I needed money. I took a big break for 3 months, and I came back to it because I needed money, not because I was passionate about it, not because I wanted to do it. And on the first job I came back, that day I broke my leg, and I know that at that time it was wow, I broke my femur bone. That's a big, strong bone to break. It's very rare to break this femur bone. Wow. It was very painful. It put me on workers' comp for a year. And so I had enough, money to pay my bills, and it just made me think I can't go back to doing this. This is not for me. This is her passion, and I love her for bringing me on, but I don't even have passion for it, and I'm not going to be helpful to her. I got to find what my thing is, and my thing was music. Yeah. And I had just gone through something with my children's father that was so detrimental to our relationship we couldn't be together anymore. And so I asked him if he could connect me with some producers, and he connected me with a real dope producer by the name of DJ Khalil, who's produced for Dre and The Game and lots of different people on the West Coast. And he hadn't at that time, but he has now. And then he introduced me to Paul Pauly, and I met with Khalil and I met with Paul Pauly, and Paul Pauly and we just clicked musically. I went in the first day, he gave me a beat. I came back the next day, I wrote a song called Caught Up, which is actually on my first album. And from there on, we just decided to put this album together, and that's kind of how it all started. Yeah,
that's Complex Simplicity, wasn't it, your first album?
Yes.
Yeah, that was 2004. Wow. So, you've written songs for people like Mary J. Blige, also Christina Milian. That's absolutely fantastic. And then to sort of accelerate into your own musical career, 3 wonderful album releases there: Complex Simplicity, Royal Patience, and also Luxurious Underground. I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, how does that feel? 3 albums behind you, and tunes being released last year. I think it was "Can't Be Love" and "Secrets of Life," wasn't it? Or a couple of tunes from last year. That you must be very, very proud, I would think.
I'm just proud that I get to use my talent. I think about it in the sense that I'm grateful that I've been able to write for certain artists. I'm grateful that I've been able to put out the album that was critically acclaimed. I'm grateful I've been able to put out mixtapes even though I was independent. But more than anything, as an artist, you have to do it. Like, as a human being, you have to breathe, Mm-hmm. It's just the same thing as an artist. You have to do it. You have to do it either way. So the fact that I get the opportunity to do it and make money off of it is just amazing, because the reward in itself is that I get to relieve myself of this art. I get to create it,
Wonderful.
Whether it's for myself or whether it's for someone else. So that's what my feeling about it all, my career, more than anything. I mean, there's so much more to go. I haven't had the opportunity to fully get where I want to go, but I'm in a marathon, not a race, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm grateful thus far for the opportunities that have been given to me and that I've taken advantage of. And I'm grateful that I've been able to express myself, because there's so many people that are somewhere right now at a desk with so much talent and boiling it inside of them, like I used to be working as a wardrobe stylist, and they don't have any outlet and they don't see any way to get it out, So I'm grateful just that I get to create, that I get to be an artist, and that God chose me. I'm really grateful.
Well, Teedra, that's lovely to hear that, and it is great that that you're able to get out there and do what you do, and we're certainly very interested in what you're working on at the moment, and we're also aware of the fact that you're not far away from coming to the UK to do a gig at Coco here in London. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, and I cannot wait. I love London. The audience is always amazing. It's one of the first places on the planet that showed me so much love, that made me feel like, oh, I can do this as an artist, not just a writer. And I love the reaction to the music. I love how committed and loyal they are to what they love, And I definitely have some new music right now coming. I have a new single by the name of All I Ever Wanted. And what I did is I took the Camp Lo Lucchini beat, and we kind of flipped that and made a record out of it. I'm so drawn to 90s classic music. To me, that's just a time that, I was becoming becoming a grown up kind of, from my teenager becoming a grown up. And I'm very nostalgic to that time when things were a little bit more innocent and love was more innocent and everything was looked at with more of a rose colored glasses because you didn't know as much, and that's kind of what I'm tapping into for my sound, because it comforts me. It's like when I made Complex Simplicity, the 80s sound comforted me, because that's when I was a little kid and everything was taken care of for me. So I'm definitely bringing that vibe to my stage show at Coco's. I love hip-hop. I love classic 90s hip-hop. Yeah. And I love hip-hop soul. And I'm fusing that with a modern feel, and the single is All I Ever Wanted, and the project, the EP that's coming shortly after we release the single, is called Cognac and Conversations. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have that feel, it's a 90s hip-hop soul feel to it, but it's not stuck there. It's modernized,
Wonderful. So are those the sorts of tunes that we can expect on the 27th when you come across here in later on in February? Or have you got something else lined up for us? I wondered what sort of things you've got in store for us. If it's not a secret, of course. I don't want to ask you to reveal any secrets of your show kind of thing.
Well, for the show, I'm definitely going to sing some new joints. Mm-hmm. Of course, I always have to sing classic, Complex Simplicity. Everybody wants that. I wouldn't go to somebody's show if they didn't sing the records that I really, really love from them. But I try my best to not just stick to Complex Simplicity, because there are mixtapes in between that people love those records as well.
Yes, yeah.
And there's new music I want to introduce. when I get on stage, my objective is always to win someone that may have been brought with a friend over, and to make the people that always come to the show feel like this doesn't get old, like I can come and sit with Teedra anytime. I like them to feel like they're in my living room.
All right.
I like them to feel like they could get up and come on stage if they wanted to, I like them to feel like it's very personal because that's how I feel. I'm looking into people's eyes, I'm I'm literally connecting with people because I'm exposing myself. It's like therapy almost, I get lost in that experience and my intentions are for people to get lost in it too. So if you came in there and you couldn't pay your rent that month, you're not worried about that. If you came in there and this dude is like stressing you and cheating on you and making you feel bad, you're not worried about that. If you came in there and, like the people at your job are making you feel inadequate or whatever the case may be, whatever your worries are, you can leave them at the door because we're going to come in here to have a good time. And I'm going to drink a little, on stage. You can get your cocktail and you can drink too. I'm going to drop it low every now and then. You could drop it low too. I might get a little emotional. You might get a little emotional, but it's like it's a conversation that I have with my audience. It's not just about everyone looking at me. It's about definitely participation of everybody in the room.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That sounds absolutely fantastic. And I love the sorts of venues where artists can do that, where the audience isn't too far away from the artist. There's not too, sometimes in auditoriums there's such a big void between the artist and the people that have gone to see them. And I love venues that are not like that. There are quite a few in London that are very up close and very personal. And that's the kind of venues where the atmosphere you described really comes across. So seriously looking forward to getting across to Coco on the 27th, hopefully, and coming to see you, which would be fantastic. And very much looking
wonderful.
forward to that. Yeah. And I was listening to one, in fact, quite a lot of your tunes the other day, but one of them I absolutely just loved, and that was Be Your Girl. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and I was just going to ask you about that tune because it just sounds so great, and I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit more about it.
About what was that? I'm sorry.
Be Your Girl, the tune Be Your Girl.
Oh, Be Your Girl, the song Be Your Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crush that I had. It was an intense crush because I'm a creative person, so I can create all kind of ideas in my mind and fantasies. Yes. And I had this intense crush on this guy, and I didn't know much about him. I didn't know if he had a girlfriend. I didn't know what his situation was. I just knew that his existence blew my brain, Yes. Like I just thought about him all the time. I thought about what it might be like to hang out with him and what his personality was. And from that, I wrote a song, and that's how all my songs come about. Just fit these emotions that I'm dealing with or something I see someone else dealing with. And Be Your Girl, I think, is probably one of the most classic songs I've ever written. And I've recently heard, maybe about a year ago, I heard the Teedra remix to it. It's really amazing, a Soul House remix.
Wonderful.
And quite a few others. The last time I was in the UK, I heard a couple of remixes, and I just love the fact that people love that record like I love the record.
That's wonderful, yeah, and I'm very much into the Soulful House side of things. I actually do a Soulful House show on a Thursday night, so which is 2 hours back to back in the mix, and yeah, absolutely wonderful. I shall go and find that remix immediately, and we'll get that into the show. That would be fantastic. I was just going to ask you if there's anything else you would like to sort of tell your fans here in the UK and worldwide, point them at your social media or your websites or anywhere in particular where they can go and buy your tunes and things like that. If you'd like to do that, then we're recording just far away.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to say follow me on Instagram at Teedra Moses is where I'm the social network I normally frequent. Twitter as well at Teedra Moses, Facebook at Teedra Moses, my website teedramoses.net, and stay tuned for the new single All I Ever Wanted. Stay tuned for the new EP Cognac and Conversations, and I'm grateful and I'm so thankful for everyone that has supported me as long as they have and have been patient for music as it trickles out. And I expect this year to be a very, very good one for myself and the people that have championed my music for a long time.
That's fantastic, and we thank you very much for what you do, and would love you to continue to do so. We'd also love to hear from you when your new EP and singles come out, because we'd love to get behind those in the UK, give you some airplay here, and just really get involved with all the wonderful things you're doing. If you're happy for that, then we'd love to do that.
Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Absolutely loving it. It's lovely. Thank you so much for phoning back and sparing your time for Sound Fusion Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been wonderful.
I appreciate you, darling.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you too. Have an absolutely wonderful Valentine's Day and a great weekend. And hopefully it won't be too long before we speak soon.
Thank you.
Have a great time. Take care.
Bye.